afternoon. So I'm wearing my skeleton outfit so that we can work a little bit on hip stability in standing. So last video I posted was a little hip stability work laying on the floor. Now we're going to work on the pelvic list. So the pelvic list is simply being able to push down. So here I'm going to push down through my left foot and see if I can get my right foot to come up. And you want to watch, it's not this. So if you watch, that's me using my, you can see my waist crunches up. That's me using my waist to move my hip. And there's nothing wrong with using your waist to move your hip, but it's not what we're doing. So what you're going to do is you're going to push down through one side, you push down and the other side pops up. You're going to hang out there. And you can do this for as long as you want. Some of us are going to notice when you do that your pelvis swings off to one side. And so you just want to observe what's happening when I try and list. So then we're going to go to the other side. So you're going to push down through, now it's my right foot, see if the left foot can come up. And you're going to notice it's different one side to the other. One side's definitely going to feel more stable than the other. So just kind of hang out, check that out. And then just stand for a moment, shake that out. So we're going to put it up a level. So you're going to grab something to stand on. It could be a yoga block, it could be a book, it could be whatever you want it to be. So all you're going to do, and probably start with your more stable side. So you're just going to put a foot up and you're going to see, can I balance on that? So if it's a yoga block, it's maybe a little squishier than the floor. It's maybe a little wobblier. So it's going to be a little different. Just going to be different things. And you can see and it's kind of cool. You can see because of my skeleton pants, my leg is wobbling. My foot is moving, and therefore my thigh, my femur is moving as well. And that's perfect. That is exactly what my body should be doing. It's trying to figure out how to be here. Now, because my left leg is now floating, we can make the list bigger. So you can actually let, in this case, the left pelvis drop, and then you pick it up. So you're letting it lower and you're picking it up. You're pushing down, you're pushing up. So that's one thing we can do to kind of work on stability. And we should start to feel like a little bit of burning in your side bum over here. So you're going to step back, you're going to switch sides. So you put your left foot on, and same thing. At first you just try and balance. You try and manage if there's any swivel. So there can be lots of that. And you might notice, and it's interesting, on this side, and I would normally consider this to be my less stable side, it is a little less wobbly today. And then same thing, it's lowering down and picking up, lowering down and picking up. Trying not to use the floating hip, the floating waist to do the work. You're using the balancing hip. So that's like stage one. Then we can add a little bit to it. So you can take a resistance band and put it around your ankles, like so. And then you stand up. Again, now you are pressing out. And what I always find interesting about this one is I always assumed it would be the outside hip that had to work harder, but actually, again, it's the standing hip that's working a little harder. So you're just pressing out a little bit. It's not a ton. I'm not trying to actually stretch the resistance band. I'm just creating a little different work for the hip. And you can always add movement. So you could kind of create like a little arc with the floating leg. You don't have to, but you might. Get used to that. And then again, we can add the lower and the lift with that little bit of resistance. You're going to step back, then you're going to switch. So you can put right foot on, left foot off. And again, try and find a little bit of stability. Observe the difference in your right and left side. And then again, we can move a little bit. So you just change the work. Essentially, what we're trying to do here is just wake up the back side, the back and the outside of the hip. using our glutes. You're gonna step back, step off. So you try that out, you check that out, and then there's one more little variation you might try. You take a block and you're going to actually put the block between your knees and squeeze. So, and it is not that one is better than the other. They just provide different feedback. So this is adduction, that was abduction, and it just changes how my hip stabilizers have to work. So it's just something a little different. And then you can challenge yourself. I'll turn sideways so you can see. You can challenge yourself by then adding, so you find your balance, and then you add a little hip hinge. So it's a little forward. And you'll notice I've got the block between my knees, so I can't kick my floating leg back to counterbalance. It's just a little hinge and back up. Trying not to lose the arch in your back. So it's not that. Want to truly move from the hip. So these are just little strategies to work with hip stability, which will increase our ability to balance. When you're finished, when you've tried kind of all three variations, just stand for a moment. We might notice that the hips feel a little more relaxed. And then just to finish off, and you can have your blocks just in front of you, you're gonna move your feet wider than hips width apart. If you had a yoga mat, it might be mat width apart. And then you're just shifting a little side to side. So a little straight side to side, which gets a little movement in the outside of the hip. We also might feel tension in the inner legs, sort of the adductors. And probably can't see it from the front, but from the side, I'm not here. So I'm not shifting my hips forward. You're moving your hips back a little bit, little side to side. And again, you can kind of go into a hinge. In this particular exercise, and we're trying to maintain a lumbar arch a little bit there. So you're not trying to round. Not that there's anything wrong with flexing the spine, but for this particular one, we're just trying to maintain that hinge. All right, give those a try and let me know how it goes.